students, now we are going to start the first lecture of our chapter, that is natural resources. Now we are going to study about that what are natural resources and what are man-made resources in this chapter. And natural resources are the gift of nature that are given to us. Now the very first topic is natural resources. Natural resources, we all know that natural resources are the resources that are God-given resources, but in terms of wealth and usability, it indicates the potential wealth of a country. Natural resources are the resources that indicates the potential wealth of a country. It indicates the potential wealth of a country. The variety of substances that man gets from earth and nature. The variety of substances the variety of substances that man gets from earth that man gets from earth and nature to meet his basic needs. The variety of substances and the variety of resources that a man gets and the human gets from the earth and to meet and nature to meet its basic needs, to meet his basic needs, to meet his basic needs are called as natural resources. Are called as natural resources. Now, the word resource, what the word resource means is the word resource means the word resource is means a source of supplying a material, a source of supplying a material, a source of supplying a material that is generally held in reserves. So material generally held in reserves. Generally held in reserve. So what is resource? The materials that are held in reserve are and the supply of that material is called as a resource. Now we are going to look at some other points of natural resources. The other points of natural resources are living and non-living. They can be living or they can be non-living. So natural resources are living and non-living. Natural resources are living and non-living, and some of these resources are found in abundance. They can be living or non-living, but some of these resources are found in abundance, are found in abundance, while others are found in limited quantities. While others are found in limited quantities. while others are found in limited quantities. Now, we all know that there are natural resources that are found in abundance, but there are some natural resources that are found in limited quantities. Now, and that too in some restricted parts of our land, and in limited quantities, and that too in some only some parts of our land, and that too in some restricted parts, in some restricted parts of our land. Now, for this reason, the natural resources have to be widely used because they are found in abundance and in limited quantities. But for this reason, natural resources have to be widely used. Natural resources have to be widely used. Natural resources have to be widely used. But however, in reality, it is not so. But in reality, it does not happen, and reality is somehow different. In reality, it is not so. However, in reality, it is not so, and they are being used indiscriminately. And they are being used indiscriminately. And they are being used indiscriminately. Indiscriminately. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is types of natural resources. Now, on the basis of availability, now what is the basis of availability, that how are available they are. So, on the basis of availability, the natural resources are categorized in two types. The natural resources, on the basis of availability, the natural resources are categorized in two types. That is, natural resources are categorized into types. That is, the first one are inexhaustible natural resources. Inexhaustible inexhaustible natural resources. And the second one are exhaustible natural resources. And the second one are exhaustible natural resources. And further, exhaustible natural resources are classified as non-renewable, and renewable. Now, we are going to look at all of these one by one. Now, the very first topic that we are going to look at is inexhaustible natural resources. Now, what are inexhaustible natural resources? That means they can't exhaust. That means resources that are in unlimited quantity. Resources that are in unlimited quantity. Resources that are in unlimited quantity. Now, the second point in inexhaustible natural resource is that resources that are not likely to be exhausted, These are the resources that are not likely to be exhausted, that are not likely to be exhausted, resources that are not likely to be exhausted by human activity or their use. By human activity or their use. For example, we can take the examples of, for example, air is not going to be exhausted, although it is polluted, but it is not going to be exhausted. Okay, it is polluted, air is polluted, but it is not never going to be exhausted. And water and solar radiations. And solar radiations, the radiations that come from sun, are never going to be exhausted no matter what the humans do. So solar radiations. Now the next topic that we are going to cover is exhaustible natural resources. Now what are exhaustible natural resources? Resources that are in limited quantities. These are the resources that are in limited quantities. Resources that are in limited quantity. Now, these resources are likely to be exhausted by human activities. These are the resources. These resources are likely to be exhausted. These resources are likely to be exhausted are likely to be exhausted these resources are likely to be exhausted by human activities. And the examples of these resources are fossil fuels. And the example of these resources are examples are fossil fuels, and etc. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is that exhaustible resources are further divisible, are further classified into two types. And the first one is non-renewable resources. Now, non-renewable resources are that cannot be replenished themselves. Resources that cannot be resources that cannot be replenished themselves by recycling and replacement. By recycling and replacement. They cannot be replenished by recycling or replacement, that we cannot recycle, or non-renewable that cannot be renewed. The resources that cannot be renewed are called as non-renewable resources, and they may be exhausted. The second point is that they may be exhausted they may be exhausted Now, the examples of non-renewable resources are the examples of non-renewable resources are minerals. All the minerals come under the non-renewable resources. They can't be renewed. That is gold and platinum and silver. They can't be renewed. And the next one are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, etc. cannot be renewed also. Now, fossil fuels cannot be renewed also. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is renewable resources. Now, what are renewable resources? They can replenish or they can renew themselves. They can replenish or they can renew themselves. They can replenish or can renew themselves. They can replenish or can renew themselves by recycling and replacement. By recycling, and replacement. Now, they can recycle themselves, but within a they can recycle themselves, but within a reasonable time. Within a reasonable time. They can recycle themselves within a reasonable time, and they are not likely to be exhausted. They are not likely to be exhausted. They are not likely to be exhausted. Now, for example, soil, forest, and wildlife. They can recycle themselves, but within a period of time. For example, soil erosion is done and soil can replenish itself. Forest can be grow again and again, and wildlife can also replenish themselves. Now the next, now the next topic that we are going to study about is natural resources, and we are going to talk about natural resources on the based on the origin. Now, based on the origin, there are basically two types of natural resources. Based on origin, natural resources are divided as the very first one are biotic natural resources or biotic resources, and the second one are abiotic natural resources or abiotic resources. Now we are going to study about them one by one. Now the very first one are biotic resources. Now what are biotic resources? These are biotic resources. These are obtained from the biosphere. These are obtained from the biosphere. These are obtained from the biosphere. For example, forest and forest products. Forest and forest products are obtained from biosphere. For example, forest and forest products, crops, crops, birds, animals, fish, birds, animal, fish, and other marine life forms are examples of biotic resources. And other marine life forms and other marine life forms are examples of biotic resources. Are examples of biotic resources. Now, coal and mineral oil also belong to this category. Coal and mineral oil. What are the two one? Coal and mineral oil also belong to this category. Also belong to this category. Coal and mineral oil also belong to this category since they originate from organic matter, because coal and mineral are originated from organic matter only. Since they originate from organic matter. They originate from organic matter. Now, the next is some biotic resources like forest and livestock are. There are some biotic resources. There are some biotic resources like forest and livestock. Like forest and livestock. And these resources are renewable. And these are renewable resources. And these resources are renewable. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is abiotic resources. Now, what are abiotic resources? These are all non-renewable resources. They cannot be renewed. So, these are non-renewable resources. These are non-renewable resources. And resources composed of non-living inorganic matter. These are the resources. These are the resources that are composed of. These are the resources that are composed of non-living inorganic matter. And these are the resources that are composed of non-living organic matter. Non-living inorganic matter. Now, land. Examples of abiotic resources are land. Land is a very important resource and it is very costly nowadays. Water and minerals like iron, copper, lead, and gold are the examples of abiotic resources? Are the examples of abiotic resources? Abiotic resources. Now, the next topic that we are going to cover is natural resources based on utility. Now, utility means usage. Utility means usage. So, there are every natural resource has some utility. Resource should have some utility. So, every resource has some utility. Every resource has some utility. For example, For example, some are used as food, or some resources are used as food or in making food. Some are used as food. Some are used as raw materials. Some are used as raw materials, whereas the others are used as a source of energy. Others are used as a source of energy. Others are used as a source of energy. Now, with this, we are going to end the lecture here only, and thank you everyone.